Alright.
Okay.
So, of course, there's a financial crisis in 2008.
Yes.
Affected the whole world.
Yes.
But how would you say did it affect Bosque School in particular?
The primary effect was that year we have a lot of families who were either in real estate or some kind of construction or maybe car dealerships. Some families had like one spouse working in real estate and the other one in car dealerships, and that they were just pretty much devastated. And so we had an increase, I believe it was 23 families applied for financial aid who had never applied for it before. So we were at risk of losing all of those students, and it was actually more students than that because some of them had more than one child here. So development had to come up with this rush emergency financial aid fund to try and raise money to help pay for that because none of that was budgeted. And we were able to keep most of those kids, not all of them, and some of them had to move. There were a lot of, we have lost, since 2008 and continuing, we've had many more students moving because their parents got work somewhere else than our past history had been. So that was the first and both immediate and ongoing effect from the crisis, and that's still going on.
Yeah.
We had people who had made pledges to our capital campaign that like helped pay for the new upper school building. Because what we do is some people get like cash right away. Some people make a pledge and say they'll get so much money a year over 5 years. And so because of that, we can borrow money to build the building. Well, then some of those people couldn't pay their pledge payments. Their businesses dropped so much that they weren't able to follow through on that, and so that affected our finances also.
Mm-hmm. So would you say, so you said that a lot of families moved from Albuquerque?
Yes.
So is there a reason they moved from Albuquerque? Like, is the job market not so good here?
It's not as good here as in some places in the country, and it's recovering more slowly here. Mm-hmm. Normally, in most financial downturns, I used to be in the construction building material industry, and so I did that for like 20 years. So you saw these cycles, and normally Albuquerque, like when the nation starts heading down, Albuquerque doesn't head down that fast. Albuquerque is kind of more gradual and much later. Mm-hmm. So they usually hit the bottom after everybody else, but then our recoveries are later also. So, and I think that's what we're seeing is that things may be picking up a little bit elsewhere, and so people might be able to get work somewhere else that they're not getting here. Because construction here is still so slammed.
Yeah. Would you say that maybe, like, during the recession, less people lost jobs in New Mexico or in Albuquerque because it does?
Maybe at the beginning in particular, and also because we do have so many people that have government-related jobs, and those so far haven't been hit as bad. With the continuing cutbacks that are going to have to be made in the government, I'm afraid we're still going, and if that happens, we're going to get hit worse here than in other parts of the country.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get some more questions.
So, if I know that you're asking about the effect on Bosque, but construction in general, when I left the building material industry was at the end of 2007, and I worked for a local lumber yard here. We had, between our permanent employees and the temporaries that we used to help with our needs, we had almost 500 people working.
Wow.
And currently that company has less than 100.
Wow.
And they had 10 locations, and now they have 2.
Wow.
I mean, it's just huge.
Yeah, just a really a big impact on almost all industry. Wow. And so you worked in the lumber industry. Like, what exactly did you do?
I was the chief financial officer for Lumber Inc. It's a local family-owned business. It started out as just one little lumber yard, and then they grew. They put in a wall panel manufacturing plant and a truss manufacturing plant, which do the roofs, setups for construction, and they made doors, and so they had a window and door facility as well, and they had locations in Las Cruces and here, Santa Fe. There are different truss and wall plants around the area, and it had grown so big, but the two original owners of the families were getting really elderly, and they had many kids working in the business, but not all of them wanted to, and so they made the decision to sell to a big national company, which luckily they did in December of 2007. They got so much money for that business.
Wow.
If they had waited a year, it would have been worth nothing. They were just so lucky. And so then when they sold it to the big national company, that meant my job went away. I would have had to move to work for the big national company. So that's when I came here.
Nice. So did Bosque, so you're already in Albuquerque. You're
Yes.
already, okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So I've been in Albuquerque the whole time.
So, how responsible would you, like, how responsible do you think Albuquerque was for the financial crisis? Like, what did we contribute, like, in terms of
as a city?
Yeah, so kind of like, were there lots of subprime loans going on? Like, what were the banks up to?
There were a lot of builders who just seemed to think this was going on forever, and so what they're doing is so they start building. If it was just a little builder, but this is happens on a really big scale. So they start building a house. Okay, so they're getting money in to pay for that house, for the materials and stuff, but they've been building so far ahead that they need that money to pay for the house they did last month. And so, which is good as long as you're constantly moving, you're getting money in and you're able to pay, but then when it stops, project, they've already gotten the money for it, but they can't finish it. And so they go bankrupt, all the people working lose their jobs, whatever. And so it's really people not being fiscally conservative enough to make sure that they're not borrowing too much, and they're not, that they know that the money that's coming in is being used for what they're currently working on.
So
it's just
people
not getting too far ahead of yourself and thinking because all this money's in, I've got money, I can buy boats, cars, trucks, whatever I can do. They just think they're way better off than what reality is if they just stop and look at it.
Yeah, they weren't responsible with their money.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And so I think that's the main way that...
Oh my god. Okay, let me record another video.